Hi, my name is Shawn Shaler. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter fame. And this week we are we're always Avatar The Last Podcasters, but this week especially we're very Avatar The Last Podcasters-y, and we are talking about Book 1 from The Legend of Korra, Book 1, Air, Chapter 3. It's called The Revelation, and it's a pretty wild episode. But before we do that, Chris, how you been? What you been up to? Anything crazy happened to you this week? Other questions?
Nothing crazy at all. It's been a pretty boring week. Yeah, just got a lot of random stuff going on right now. Just clean up the house, stuff like that. Dealing with there's bats in my belfry, but literally.
Oh, for real? I thought you were just like a Batman colloquialism.
No, it's funny because I mean they're not. There just happened to be one in there, but still got to get it all taken care of so they don't come back. But it's fine. So in Batman Year One, in Batman comic book, right? There's a Bruce Wayne isn't Batman yet. He's gone out. He's tried to stop crime his own way, but like he ends up inadvertently getting stabbed by, and maybe also shot by a police officer. Anyway, he makes it back home, and he's sitting in Wayne Manor, sitting in his chair, bleeding. And he's like there's a bell right by the side, and he's just like talking to his dad. He's like, "Father, I'm not going to go another second if you don't send me a sign on the path I need to go down. Like, I could ring this bell and Alfred will attend to my wounds, but I refuse to if I don't have any like aim or focus on how to accomplish what I want to accomplish." So he's pretty much there. He's pretty much ready to die because he's failing so far. And then like right at that moment, a bat crashes through his study, through his window, and he says, "Yes, Father, I shall become a bat." Like, if that was me, I'd be like, "Yes, Father, I shall become an exterminator and get rid of these bats."
I shall become a window repairman and help the world that way. And then Dad's like, no, that's not.
Hey, son, this is better than becoming a vigilante who
make a decent wage, an honest
risk
living.
His life every day.
With all due respect to Batman Begins, that is a much more interesting origin story, in my opinion, than falling down a well. Just me personally, I don't know. I kind of like it. Are you? I forget. Now I'm going to say it out loud on the podcast, and we're streaming live. Hey, we're also live today. That's pretty exciting. Are you also still like kind of in house repairish mode, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
I started painting a room, not even painting, just touching it up, and I hate painting. And I was like 5 minutes in, I was like, I feel so bad for Chris. Like 5 minutes into the easiest, it's this empty wall right over here, and it's the easiest thing, but I hate painting so much. I was like, I feel awful for Chris right now.
That's usually, I don't even hate painting all that much, but I painted my deck, which is, it's just never paint your deck. It's the most annoying thing because decks have that little like fence part, and you gotta get all up in the crevices, you gotta get each side, and it took me probably 8 hours to paint the deck. One night I was up to like, I was like, you know what, forget it, I'm just gonna finish it. I was up till 2:00 outside, had like a lamp on.
That sounds awful.
I was like, I'm gonna. You know, I did that 2 nights in a row actually. The first night I was out there till like 12:30, and I was like, this is terrible. And for some reason, the second night, maybe I got into a good groove. I was listening to Rise of Kyoshi, and so I was and there was a nice breeze. That was probably the best it's been. But
like your mind was occupied and you weren't super uncomfortable, and it was still the worst chore in history. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's worse chores. I'm being dramatic, but
which reminds me, like it was like my muscles are hurting, but I was thinking to myself, like, what did I even do? And then it reminded me of Karate Kid, which I just finished Cobra Kai season 2. Yeah, Shawn, you should give it a watch. It's good.
I'm astounded. That show does not look like it has any right to not suck.
it has a really good sense, a really good dichotomy or dynamic between who is a good guy, who's a bad guy, which is really interesting. There's one major fault in the show, and specifically in the writing, is that the show falls apart oftentimes throughout pretty much every episode if just two characters have a conversation together. Like there's just so much miscommunication, and it's at first you're like, all right, it's not that big a deal, but it just
That
happens
sounds
over
like
and
a
over
terrible
again.
sitcom. The way you've just like anytime a husband and a wife like casually communicate and that causes problems that create an episode climax.
No, it'll be like um, Johnny from Cobra Kai. If he would have just talked to Danny LaRusso, who is the Karate Kid, if they would have just like had this conversation of like, oh hey, I'm training your son. Oh hey, oh okay, oh your son's staying with me. Like it wouldn't create any animosity between the two. And then and other times this have happened. Like one girl is she. I don't want to ruin it for anyone who's going to watch it. Go watch it. I do think season two ended on a really great cliffhanger that reminded me a lot of how book two of Avatar ends. It's not the same level of Avatar, just reminded me of it. Like it ends on this dire note of like, okay, I want to see more. I'm now invested in where these characters go. Just
That
yeah,
it does it pisses me off in movies when me and Heather will be watching a movie and I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I feel like rom coms are usually the biggest culprit. Where I'll be like, if they would have just said this thing, there would be no movie, and I'd get
yeah.
my life back. And when that happens, and it'll still like be an okay movie, and I'm just being an ass because I wanted to watch something else. But I will watch Cobra Kai. I trust your judgment. And but first I'm gonna finish My Hero Academia. I'm up to like it's like the third time I've tried to watch it, and it never anything
Good. Watch that.
nothing ever specifically turns me off. It just seems like something else pops up. Like now the thing that's gonna pop up is gonna be football. If football happens and continues, it's gonna happen. But on to episode 12, and I really do like it. I like everything about it. I think the only minor
You're only
nitpick
on
is
episode 12.
I'm only on episode 12, but this is like in a week. This
But
is in
nothing
this is in a
has
week of
even really
watching.
happened yet, especially compared to so much stuff that happens. It's gosh, Shawn, you gotta get.
The only qualm that I have, and I think the thing that does irk me sometimes is the dialogue, and I think it's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be like kind of a meta commentary on anime in sort of the campy, dumb dialogue and stuff, the horrible monologues even. But I think it's supposed to be that way. It does get on my nerves sometimes, but that's a very minor complaint I have. It's not detracting me at all. So that's what I'm doing right now. But on the other point, that's just been like 12 episodes this week, and I've also had a pretty big week. My first day at my new job is Friday, so the day before we put this out for real, unless you're watching it live, which I doubt because I have like 2 followers on Twitch. But Friday is my first day of my new job, and so this week I wanted to like make a video while I had some time. So I downloaded a new software that I'll be using at my job. But it's like a real software that you have to pay for, and I didn't want to do that because it's very expensive. So I just downloaded the free trial, and it was
Use your company funds.
I wished, right? Like, hey, can I borrow my company laptop early? No, but it's called Camtasia, and I downloaded it. It said 30-day free trial, which to me implies that you have 30 days to use the full product, right? Is that how you would assume that? If
Yeah.
you saw, like, you get the full experience, just 30 days, that's it. So I made this video, and I'm very proud of it. I think it's one of the better videos I have ever made. It's pretty thorough. It's pretty nice. Little audio issue here and there, but nothing crazy. And I posted on YouTube. I was so proud. I posted it direct to YouTube. And it has the horrible, like, big watermark on it, like the whole screen. Like, I didn't know that it was going to have to... I did all this work. I can't get it off in any way, shape, or form. I Googled everything, and the only ways was, like, some shady
But
downloading and hacking or paying $260 for the software. It's more expensive because it's an e-learning software, so you can make videos, but you can also make like videos with quizzes, and it's like training course kind of videos. Do you know what I'm? Does that make sense? Like
yeah,
the videos with the interactive elements. That's why it's way more expensive. But I got all the way in, and I was so proud. And then I clicked on it on YouTube to watch it, and it had the horrible watermark. It's the entire screen. It's awful. But I'm really proud of the video, so I just put a disclaimer in my description, and I'm leaving it up there. And I'm going to work this week, feel good, because I know how to use that software. Very proud. So watch my video, but just ignore the big, like, middle third of the screen. Go do that for me. That was my week. I'm very excited, though. Big day. Big week. Before we jump into episodes, Chris, 2 weeks ago, we did, like, fan appreciation, and then neither one of us knew how to pull up the comments the way that we thought we did. At it. I think we recovered nicely, but we intended to pull up more comments that we had gotten direct to Facebook, and we couldn't figure out how to do it on our phones. So I'm going to give you a minute if you would like to read off some other comments here that we probably missed on our fan appreciation episode.
All right, yes. Alejandro, shout out to him. He just wanted to give us a quick shout out on Twitter saying, hey, I just want to tell you guys I'm a huge fan of you and Shawn Shaler and love your podcast. Thank you, Alejandro. We greatly appreciate it. Like, you have no idea. And then, okay, what the heck? What happened to all the messages that I had on here? How did they all go away?
We had such a good start.
No, I got them. Never mind. I got them. Okay. There was one on Instagram, the librarian. He messaged us to say, hey, enjoyed binging our episodes while at work. That's great to hear. He says, can't wait to hear you get into Korra. So thank you. He goes on to say a couple other things. So thank you, the librarian. Then Grading Animals says, I had to pay homage. He just sent us a message. It wasn't really like a grade or anything, but thank you for sending those messages. Brian Watson.
Did he have a critique that you should share? I'm open to hearing critiques on.
No, he was just sharing with us a meme.
Oh, okay.
About. No, but that's great. Send us memes.
We love memes, absolutely. You know what? Grading Animals. What a perfect show to do that for. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Grading Animals.
Yeah. Barry. Is it Barry Swatson or Barry Swatson?
I've always assumed it's Barry S. Watson, but I'm not sure. But I know we did for sure talk about him on Fan Appreciation. He's talked to us a few times. Yep.
Cool. And then there's Ronnie Lamar Jr. He's very active with us, always sending us good stuff. Mm-hmm. RJ Lamar, which I feel like it's the same person.
I think it is, yeah. I believe so. And he is big into the head-to-heads. He always has good head-to-head suggestions for us.
Yes. Yeah, so thank you all. Me and Shawn greatly appreciate it. You have no idea. Like, this is just a little podcast to us oftentimes. So hearing from you all is a great joy, and it fills our heart with great joy, to be redundant.
I always assume that most of our listeners are from Chris's channel, and they probably are, but I mean, like, in an accidental way, like 99% of our podcast listeners are just like have it on autoplay, and it just goes to a podcast after it runs out of everything else. So when people comment, that kind of validates it for me. It's like, even if they're doing it, they're clearly leaving it on, and that makes me feel really good. So thanks a lot. We really are extremely grateful. Hey, I forgot this, but this seems like a good segue and a good time to. Is somebody calling you right now?
No, I don't check my app. I don't check my tablet that much on Facebook. So I went to Facebook and just a bunch of notifications popped up. But go ahead.
Well, I'm going to interject. I meant to do this earlier, but it's a nice segue to issue a public apology to our non-YouTube listeners who last week. This was not like a clever ruse or anything, I swear, and it really wasn't that clever if it was, but I've been attempting kind of a soft opening of another podcast, a Pokemon podcast with another friend, and it's been a lot of fun.
Cheats on this podcast with that podcast.
I do, and on that podcast, I don't know how to say this because, they're both animation, but they're extremely opposite because this podcast is thoughtful and this show is extremely detailed, and that's what makes it work. If you've ever watched Pokemon, you'll understand that it's not a good show. but that makes for delightful podcast material. Long story short, I accidentally put a Pokemon podcast as the audio only version of our Avatar: The Last Podcasters podcast. So if you went to Spotify and tried to listen to it, and were listening to Pokemon, and you just like happen to hate Pokemon or something like that, I'm really sorry. It was an accident. I could say it won't happen again, but when I recreated my steps to see what happened, I'm like, oh yeah, it could definitely happen again. But I'll try really hard to not let that happen.
Oh, speaking of which, I just now checked our Apple channel, so we got 2 new reviews, Shawn. 2 new reviews. I'm excited.
Apple's big. Apple drives the algorithm.
Yeah.
Let's hear them.
So here's one from Chikori123 on 7/31/2020. So that hasn't been, what day is it? Oh no, it's September now. It's been over a month. Okay.
What was that, July?
Yeah.
We're not Apple people, though. Neither one of us. I have iTunes, for what it's worth.
But please, continue to leave.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leave stuff on that. I check it every now and then, like now.
I will try to check it more often.
All right, so it says, love the podcast. I've been listening to the podcast ever since I finished ATLA a few months ago. You guys bring new topics to the table and always give me new stuff to think about, even if I don't agree with everything. Love the YouTube channel, too. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Chikori. Really appreciate it. And I love that you don't agree with us, even though you love with everything, even though you love the channel. That's kind of what I strive for, is to have good, thoughtful conversations and debate, respectful. But yeah, still very respectful. Thank you
so much. That was a stellar review. I appreciate it.
Oh, here's a pretty long one. I like long messages for some reason. Oh, that was a 5-star review, that previous one.
Yes.
5 stars.
So I keep doing visual things on our podcast. I pumped my fist.
This one is from Games, also on July 31st. 5-star review. Tales of the Avatar podcast. After ATLA came on Netflix, I was determined to find an Avatar rewatch podcast that accompanied my binging and need for digesting my thoughts and excitement. I'm not kidding when I say I listened to every possible Avatar podcast out there to figure out which one was best. At the end of my experimentation, Avatar: The Last Podcasters came out victorious. ? I'm just adding the emphasis there.
I think I'm going to cry a little bit.
I know. This podcast gets back to the heart of what podcasts are for. 2 friends chatting casually about something they're passionate about. Thank you. That's exactly what we strive for.
Tugging my heartstrings, right? Especially because I'm wearing a sweater that my friend got me. And
I did notice.
I didn't. I had to point it out just in case. I'm not doing the hair. I'm not doing the hair right now, though. That's too much. It's just really cold today.
He continues. Chris's in-depth knowledge and objective analysis, coupled with Shawn's love for all hilarity, makes a perfect combo for a great podcast. Plus, Jamie surprising us from time to time as a regular guest, Zutara Rep and Zuko Advocate add so much. It reminds us how this show has brought together many types of fans from all ages, backgrounds, and ships. Zutara and Katang united. Finally caught up to the present and can't wait for more. Thank you.
That was amazing.
Games.
That's
Thank
fantastic.
you. Thank you very much.
I love it when reviews acknowledge Jamie because it's a reminder to me, like, it's good to have a Zutara ship. Like, it's a big enough pool out there that needs represented. So,
yeah,
it's good when people recognize, like, yeah, you guys need that. Thank you for those. Those are extremely meaningful, both in a sentimental way and then to the magical internet algorithm that makes things go. I know those iTunes star reviews are extremely important to that. So thank you so much. That's amazing.
Yes, and that's all I got for now.
Thanks for fan appreciation take. There's never too much fan appreciation. Fan appreciation take two was a rousing success.
Yes, if only I'd read fan appreciation season. Take 1 could have been so much better and all encompassing.
Nobody hated too hard on that episode, so I feel like they forgave us. Like, no, you know what? In some ways, they're still young.
Yeah. Okay. And then, and I don't think anyone has mentioned your mess up on that one. The thing is, I went to go listen to it myself because every now and then I'm what's the word for not.
You're your own harshest critic, kind of, right? Like you're like watching game film. Is that what you're getting at? of your like
No,
watching your own game film?
I think I was really bored. And that sounds bad to say about your own podcast. What is my podcast? I already said the words. If it's podcast is like really good, and I feel like it was really good, I go back and listen to it. But this one, I was just like, I just need something in the background, and yeah, I kind of just judge stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why does this music sound familiar, but it's not the right music? And it's the Pokemon theme, like dun 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 dun. I'm just like, what is?
That was just last week, right? Like now I'm hoping that I replaced the right one. I think that was just last week.
And it's like, hi, my name is Shawn Shaler, and this is
Jesse Loves.
I'm sorry. Oh yeah, and then yeah, it's like, I'm not on this. And yeah, I send you a message saying, is this your way of getting me to listen to your other podcasts?
I'd say it was clever, but it wasn't intentional, which therefore defies the clever part. Jesse, I've asked him before. He's a big Avatar: The Last Airbender fan as well, and I've asked him to come on this show. I think it'd be cool to have some LGBTQ plus representation on this show at some point. So we'll get him on here as a special guest, I think. Tremendous natural speaking voice. Kind of hard to, what do I want to say here? I don't even know where I want to go with this. He is really... We go on so many tangents. You and I go on tangents, but we still have a direction. It's like when I'm talking with Jesse, I can't rein myself in. It goes all over the place, and it's really hard to rein, but in a good way. It's been a lot of fun. So we'll get him over here someday, I think.
Definitely.
With that, I think that we have all the random odds and ends of apologies and fan appreciations and big weeks out of the way. Let's jump to the revelation.
The revelation. Yeah. Pro Benny term. Yeah. So Mako and Bolin and Korra, they're all training, which I do like seeing them train. And Korra. Side note here, Korra, people underestimate Korra a lot of times, but Korra doesn't need all four elements to give someone the business. I've noticed, which I love when she's just fighting people. She's really strong, but she like pushes the ball at Mako. He falls over. Like, oh man, there was this one girl. If you check my Twitter, there's this girl on Twitter who it's like she works out. I don't know if she's a muscle builder or anything, but she looks like a dead ringer for Korra, but just like slightly like more build. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like one thing she's I looked around because I was about to compliment another woman in my own house, and I don't do that.
You're right. There's something different about that.
Yeah. But
this is a safe, wife-free podcast. Neither one of our wives have any interest in listening to this ever, so you're safe.
Anyway, she's nice looking and strong, very much like Korra. And she looks a lot like Korra. Like I think that's the closest live action like resemblance of Korra, just natural that you'll get. Anyway, I don't know where my point was going for. Anyway, back to the show. They need money for a lot of stuff. They need money to get entry fee into the tournament. About 30,000. I forget what the currency is. You sounds right. Yuans. I'm not sure. Is that a real currency? Like I know that.
It's not familiar to me from reality, but I'm not a currency whiz by any means.
Yeah, I'm not either. That was my worst part of college. I did not like international.
I know. Yeah, I'm pretty good at pesos, but that sounds like I'm joking. No, I actually am decent at pesos, but that's literally the only one that I have any other notion of, I'm afraid.
Me too. But that and Colombian dollar.
Oh yeah.
Because that's just our time at.
We know a thing or two about the Colombian dollar. I should know more about yen because I import a lot of Japanese video game stuff, but I don't. I just pay the fine I pay the bill and just let it go.
I wonder if someone like why do they know Colombian dollar? Like, are they into like cartels?
It sounds like we're into cocaine. Which, I swear, if you listen to last week's episode, we definitively affront the fact that we're not into cocaine. So go back to listen to that. We're just fans of shoes. That doesn't sound a lot bad. It sounds like we're stuffing coke into shoes.
Yeah, it sounds like a cover-up
It's
now.
a front, yeah. Whatever, I don't work there anymore.
Not many people work there.
Where that's true. Where you were going was that Korra like underappreciated for her physical abilities, which at this part, at this point doesn't seem like an important note, but obviously in this season it becomes wildly important at a certain point. So,
yeah. Anyway, they need some money, and Bolin decides to get some money. He first tries to get more money by doing a circus act, pretty much with Pabu, and he makes just like a little bit.
Just
I think he makes like one.
Pabu,
yeah, street performing with Pabu. Yeah. And then Mako goes. Oh, a guy comes around from the triads, like, "Hey, Lonnie Bolt Zolt needs some help. Come on, and you can get paid." So he goes there to get paid. But he doesn't show up like the next day because Mako, he goes and works at the power plant, lightning bending, energy, which is really interesting that's what lightning bending turns into. Like it's which that's what would happen in the real world if someone can just create light, just electricity. Like, hey, let's just harness that, right? Like,
yeah, take that movie where you can't create your own fire. Right? Is that in the Shyamalan movie? Only the Fire Lord does it?
You know what? Yeah, I didn't mind it. Iroh was the one that was able to create his own fire.
No, I agree, and that's kind of like whatever person asked that question. I totally forget. I think Dion asked that question about beyond Korra, what would be different or whatever. It's like, well, at some point these lightning bending people are going to go on strike, and then they're going to be replaced by some lightning creation machine. I don't know how that works.
You know what would be interesting if we got like a Nikola Tesla type of character, which I feel like Varric is more of the Hirashi Sato is the Henry Ford character, right? He makes the automobile.
Yeah.
Varric is, I mean, the closest thing I think about Varric is Tony Stark. But that's fake. I can't think of maybe Nikola Tesla.
I would say the other, like, if anything, Varric is more, what's the actual, Edison. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Because he's got like more of the salesman appeal, like he's going to be one to take the credit, even though.
Yeah.
What's the name of the elephant? Have we talked about this before? It's in like a card game. The name of the elephant that Thomas Edison electrocuted to prove a point about direct current versus alternating, and the elephant had a name, and I don't remember what it was. It's not important. It's totally.
How did I not know about this? I went to my middle school was named after Thomas Edison. They don't tell you that.
No, they probably leave that part out. Well, I mean, as you've probably been aware much longer than me, but all these other things that they don't tell us in schools about people that schools are named after. He like to demonstrate that Tesla's was like more dangerous or something. He's like, look, I can use Tesla's electricity, which was like alternating or direct. I don't remember which is which. I'm not an engineer. And I can kill this elephant, and it could happen to you in your home if you use that guy's electricity. And he electrocuted an elephant, and it had a name, and that makes me really sad for some reason.
Yeah. Speaking of Tesla and Edison's rivalry, which plays a minor part in the movie The Prestige, which is an amazing movie.
It is a movie that I did not think I was going to like even a little bit, and it turns out that I really liked it a whole lot, actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you borrowed my copy of it because I was probably pushing it hard because I tell everyone all the time it's like amazing.
Now I own a copy, and when you explain the premise of the movie up front, I'm like, that sounds like Cobra Kai. Like that sounds like an awful movie. There's Tesla and there's magic.
I was thinking it's a lot like Cobra Kai in the sense that it's all about like two men's rivalries and how things just escalate and escalate.
There's something, maybe at the time I was like, whatever, he just liked Christian Bale because he's Batman, so he's making me watch it. And so it's like, it's probably garbage, but I'll watch it for him. I watched it, it's like, shit. That was amazing. Sorry, big tangent, but hey, that's a great story and a great comparison here of Varric and I already forgot Hiroshi Sato being Henry Ford.
Yeah,
But
Hiroshi definitely
but
Henry Ford.
someday their Tesla is going to come along and he's going to replace these lightning benders and tech will move on and bending will be slowly forgotten. Maybe, I don't know. That'll be a fun episode sometime.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Mako and Korra tries to track down Bolin. They come across some chi blockers, and one thing I love this scene here because this scene, like, this is the first time we've seen a really high stakes, high speed chase. Because in Avatar, no one can. I mean, Aang is like the fastest person, but he doesn't use that oftentimes in like chases and stuff. Even the episode The Chase, it's a very like slow chase. It's very. It's not. It's more of a. I don't know. I can't even.
You conjure these images of like classic comedy chase scenes in your head, and then it's just a giant tank chasing a bison.
Yeah. Which now reminds me of a John Mulaney joke about how like he's walking in the subway late at night and there's a girl in front of him. And he's like, and then she starts walking fast. And I think she's walking fast because she like hears the train, even though I don't hear the train. And so I'm walking fast and I'm gaining on her.
Maybe she can feel it in her feet like a Native American or something.
Yeah. And I forgot that while I'm running her, I forget that, oh yeah, men sometimes rape women every now and then. She's running from me. And I want to tell her she doesn't have to be afraid of me. I'm just like some schmuck. But then that's even worse. I mean, chasing her down, grabbing her, telling her, I'm not going to rape you. I'm a little boy.
I'm a little
That seems like that would also... so weird.
That's a great joke.
It's a great joke.
Actually, I thought you were going to go Buffalo to the why buy the cow joke, but I appreciate where you went with that. Great chase scene within a joke.
Anyway, they great chase scene, and they end up fighting them, and they get beat fairly quickly by the chi blockers. They immobilize them, and then Naga steps in to save the day. And then Korra freaks out because she can't bend. And Mako seems like he's been chi blocked before. He's like, calm down. You can't bend right now, but you'll get your bending back. Don't worry. Which I think is a great foreshadowing to what comes later on. It's like, all right, hey, like at worst, these group of people might take your bending away for like a second or something. But later on you're like, all right, that's not the whole thing.
Kind of raises questions about Mako. I keep wanting to call him Mako because of Mako Tsunami because I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! But Mako, it raises like, you're supposed to raise an eyebrow of like, how does he know about this stuff?
Yeah. Before that, also, I love, one of the things I absolutely love about The Legend of Korra is Korra's relationship with the Airbending kids. Mm-hmm. Like, she's like practicing, going through the whirly thingies technique, and she's doing really great. She goes through it. And then Mako comes up because he's looking for Bolin, and then they're like, ooh, there's that guy you talked about that drives you crazy. And Ikki's like, does he drive you crazy in like a you want to hit him kind of way, or crazy like you love him kind of way? And then Korra just like earth bends him away, and they're so natural airbenders, and they just kind of like fall gently to the ground while still like listening in on her conversation with Mako.
She handles them appropriately. Like, but she doesn't get annoyed at them like you might at other people. Like, if strange kids were bothering me, I'd be like, go away, kid. I don't want to talk to you right now. But she handles them very nicely.
Yeah, she's definitely a big sister to them. Or like that cousin that's
the close cousin, the good one, the
cousin.
one you like.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a good cousin, but after a while, I was like, I don't really have a.
I have like 20 cousins on one side of my family, so I got a ton of choices.
I mean, I only hung out with like one of my cousins growing up, and he kind of bullied me. or picked on me. And then after a while, like when I turned 13, I was like, you know what? I don't need this person in my life, and so I just stopped hanging out with them at that point.
That was
And
a
we
very
still don't,
mature decision of you to make.
and we still don't really talk that much when we see each other because I don't know. I still have pent up, I guess, animosity
Hey, if you can't
or
say
just
something nice.
yeah.
Like I said, I got like
Thing is,
20 on one side and then just 3 on the other side, but they are all very, very different than me, but it's still nice. We all get along.
yeah. All right, so they get chi blocked and they do some oh, really interesting. Mako tells Korra that like Bolin, like he's all I have. Like since our parents died, our parents were killed by a firebender. So something I was thinking about because Mako's one of those underappreciated characters. I think in the fandom, and even I don't really appreciate him that much. But I think what could have helped his character out is if they would have shown that flashback of his parents being killed by the firebender, because then you would like there's a reason why they keep showing us Batman's parents being killed because it is integral to that character. It drives everything that he does. Like, and as a Batman fan, I don't care how many times I see Bruce Wayne's parents getting killed. Like, I won't say I love seeing it because that sounds morbid, but it is the flashpoint of this character. He turned tragedy to triumph, and so I enjoy seeing that moment. And I
It's
think
like an
seeing that moment,
extreme emotional connection in the most dramatic possible way.
yeah, and and I think it would be interesting because it would also show why Bolin and him are so different, right? Because they would be like Batman and Robin, right? Batman was was uh was so young. He was at that perfect age for this to be so damning to his psyche. He was old enough to know what his parents' love felt like, but he was young enough that he thought it would last forever. He was not young and naive enough, and when that whole thing shattered, it broke his mind. Right? Dick Grayson was like 13 when his parents died. He was, he was old enough to enjoy the love and experience with them, but he was also old enough to know that like, all right, life is it's not fair. These things happen. He was old enough to process it. But Lynn would have been like, I don't know, 5 or something, right? He would have been young enough that it probably didn't damage him nearly as much as it did Mako or affect him that much. Also, Mako had to become the responsible one to take care of his little brother. And so I think if you would have shown that flashback, you would have shown like, pretty much Crime Alley, right? Coming back from a great family trip or family outing. And then you see his parents getting brought down by a firebender, and you see just Mako holding on to little baby Bolin or little Bolin, not baby, he wouldn't have been a baby, but little Bolin, and protecting his younger brother that he calls. Maybe he even lightning bends at. Oh, that would be good too.
Killed his first criminals at age
No,
eight,
no,
7, 8. Whatever, he could have done it. If he lightning bended out of just pure vengeance, out of pure vengeance, and he didn't control it, he killed him, and that would have created a really interesting character. Are we supposed to assume that Bolin and Mako's parents, that one is a firebender and one's an earthbender?
That is yes, that is true.
What is the chance that they like came from one of those colonies, one of those Fire Nation colonies?
His mother is a firebender. I don't know where she comes from. I believe she does come from the Fire Nation. Yeah, and his father, he is from Ba Sing Se, because when they go and meet the grandma, she says like, "Oh yeah, he left and he met a girl from the Fire Nation." And so yeah,
Okay. It would have been cool if it was from like the fire, that like one of the remnants of those fire colonies from the Promised or something like that.
yeah.
Oh, well.
But anyway, I would have liked to see that flashback of little Mako and Bolin. I think that would have helped really inform those two characters and that brotherly dynamic. maybe if Korra had like I don't know extra episodes, they would have probably been forced to just like fill in time. Because the thing about Avatar: The Last Airbender is that Brian and Mike actually only wanted 13 episodes like per season, but Nick was like, "Oh no, we would like to be 20," and they were like, "All right, that's fine. We can do that." And so I
And
think they
that's
filled
how
it
the Great
in.
Divide happened.
You know what? Today, John Carlo Volpe, who directed that episode, friend of the show, not really, but he's a friend of the show.
He
He
talked to
doesn't
Chris
know
one
it.
time. It was pretty cool.
A couple times. But he often talks about how that episode is terrible. So he tweeted out today. This person tweeted like, "What image from a TV show still haunts you?" He put up a picture of the Great Divide,
It
and
just
then
they
so I was in the
Anxious
middle of
Lie just
like,
made that shit up, and it could have had some resolution and some closure and been fine, but just Aang making some shit up to.
the thing is, it's not his fault. He's an animation like director, right? He didn't come up with the story of it. Also, I
Oh
think he
yeah,
did a good
yeah. I'm
job
not. I'm not
at
blaming friend of the show
yeah.
Giancarlo Volpe for all that.
Also, he did do one of the highlights of the episode is the two animation styles for the two flashback stories. But I was messaging, I was tweeting, subtweeting him, and I was gonna say like, hey, it's okay, it's not your fault. Also, I don't even think, in my head, my least favorite episode isn't the Great Divide. It's actually Bottle of the Water Tribe. And before I sent that, I was like, you know what? I should check to see who directed this episode, and it was him too.
Bato of the Water Tribe is a great example, alluding to earlier, one of those episodes where if this one person had just done this one very normal thing, this
Sure.
stupid episode wouldn't have happened. Like this very human, average thing to have done, but instead he went out of his way to be an asshole. Sorry, Giancarlo Volpe. Those
Yeah.
aren't. We understand that it's a
But
bigger process than just you.
I did not tweet that at him because I
It's a
don't
good choice.
like
It's a good choice.
I don't like critiquing because that's rude to me to just even though it would have been
It would have sounded like a burn over text, like without the context of conversation. It would have sounded
yeah.
like you were being really mean. You're like, hey, listen, I know you hate that one, but don't forget this piece of shit.
I don't want him to then think like I used to think only people hated one of my episodes. Now someone hates.
No, he's like laying at home awake, like I didn't know
Yeah,
this whole time.
but no, love John Carlo Volpe. He's very active on the socials.
Excellent follow.
Um, Man, we are tangenting the crap out of this episode.
Mostly my fault. I'm going to take credit for that. But that's all right.
That's okay. There's not that much that happens in the episode, but a lot happens towards the end of the
It
episode.
is a really good foreshadowing episode. Real big on that.
Yeah. So anyway, they track down the revelation, as they call it. This is going to be at this Eucalyptus rally. So Korra and Mako go there. They have some nice little intimate moments between there. I don't care. I don't think I was even a Makaro shipper at that time. I'm pretty sure my daughter definitely ships them too.
I mean, I haven't thought about it enough, especially trying to watch sort of with a fresh perspective. But the shipping,
Yeah.
it's just not my strong suit and not something that interests me. So I'm going to reserve judgment for now.
Yeah. So they go to the rally, and Amon is up, and Amon is voiced by oh my gosh, Steve Bloom. Steve Bloom is a great voice actor. He's a legend. He voiced Spike and Cowboy Bebop, Wolverine, and X-Men and the Wolverine. He's voiced several other characters throughout video games and
Appropriately
television.
creepy and sort of deep and foreboding.
Yeah, but he has a really great, like, gravelly, sinister voice that he can do. He plays Amon. He does a great job. So Amon tells the fake story, which at this time, as an audience member, you don't know is fake, but that his parents were killed by firebenders, which creates an interesting thing about firebenders. I remember watching it at the time when it came on. I was like, oh, I wonder if the same firebender who killed Mako and Bolin's parents was the same person who killed Amon's parents, because it was just lining up.
We
So
learned
much like,
about
oh, this-
both in the same episode. It seems like a
Yeah.
reasonable.
Yeah. And so then he talks about how the spirits gave him a vision, gave him the power to take away bending. Um, which, man, the fan theories. All right, so then he brings out Lightning Bolt Zolt. And Lightning Bolt Zolt is a crime lord, essentially, in Republic City. And he talks with like one of those New York accents, like, "Hey, buddy, you gonna regret this." I mean, yeah,
It's like the
not for
John
nothing,
Mulaney
but
of New York accents. Like it's pretty. They lay it on pretty thick.
yeah, which goes with the whole like 1920s gangster vibe that Legend of Korra goes with. Um, and this animation in the scene is really good. All right, so he's lightning bending at him, and then Amon just sort of turns him, and then when he goes to take away his bending, like he bends him down, like lightning bolts, so like lightning is coming out, like almost um on the force, as if like all this energy has to come out. And it's really interesting if you listen to commentary. Bryan is like, yeah, so the lightning comes out, and then the fire comes out, and like it's all kind of gone. Like it was simplifying that like that bending is out of him, which is a great animated scene. If you suffer from was it is it epilepsy? Like when
Yeah, with the blinking lights potentially causing seizures or things like that.
yeah,
Flashing
this
light.
would be the
Yeah.
episode to not watch because there's a lot of lightning
Just
bending going on.
just listen to our episode and then skip the actual episode.
Yeah, and Korra is taken aback by it because you got to think about Korra, like bending to her is like the greatest thing of all time, and she is the Avatar, and bending defines being the Avatar. I think she is frightened, um, seeing that happen. Oh yeah, man, the fan theories were crazy back then about like who was Amon. Like that was a lot of the intrigue of the show at the time. So Legend of Korra season one, in some ways, it was better the first time watching it, but also you know a lot of other stuff gets better as well. But just that intrigue, like and the way Legend of Korra is paced, especially season one, it's really cool not knowing going in what's going to happen because there's so many theories. Like there was theories that Amon was like an offshoot Avatar. Like when Aang was shot by Azula, it inadvertently created like two pathways of the Avatar because he died.
It doesn't seem to age right unless Amon's really old, but I generally like I appreciate that theory. It's kind of cool.
Well, it was like he created a like it could have been Amon. Amon could have been the next one in line, or it could or someone could have
Oh,
died,
I see what you're
and
saying. I see what
then
you're saying.
yeah, because
Amon
like
wouldn't have to
Tim,
be like 100 years old or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, but he would only
I suppose he could
be
be. Yeah, he would.
he'll be 60. Yeah, he'll be 60. Wait, no, he'll be 70
Probably
something.
70-ish, give or
Yeah,
take. Yeah.
because if Aang never died, he would be Korra 17. He died at 66. He would be 80 something, 83.
And
So then
previous
Aang was
avatars lived
still
to 200. Why can't one offshoot avatar live to 80? And be healthy?
yeah.
He's only half
Uh,
done.
yeah.
I
So now
appreciate the
Mako
theory though.
so now Mako Korra is freaking out because Bolin is up on the stage and Amon is like he's gonna equalize every one of them, take their bending away. And Bolin, of course, is the last one. So they gotta make a distraction. Korra goes in and fights this guy. One thing, big freaking guy. And Korra beats him up, knocks him out. Which again, Korra is great at hand to hands. Like, sure, she can bend all four elements, or you can catch her hands. Like, either way, she's good. Um, and they get Bolin out, and then they have a pretty cool fight with Mako Bolin have a fight with the lieutenant, which that's all we know his name is to be. But he's really like he takes out both Mako and Bolin. Like he's no joke. He's very skilled. Even though before I called him the Team Rocket of of Avatar, um, he's still very very skilled fighter.
At the part where we're at in the Pokemon podcast, Poké-Malarkey, Team Rocket has not yet proven themselves to be just like bumbling buffoons. Like they haven't devolved
Oh,
to that
okay.
level
Really?
yet. They're still just legitimate crooks. So it's possible. Confidence is key. They still have it right now.
Yeah, man, I was watching whatever the most recent season where Ash actually wins, and like they were working at some food at a restaurant or something. I was like, where the heck? Why are they working at a food restaurant?
I'm telling you, it's a fun show. Obviously, it's important and valuable to me, but it is not a good show. It very clearly originated as something else.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so they get I forget who beats the lieutenant. Did Cora beat him?
I think Cora comes along and beats him. Am I thinking of
Yeah.
that right?
Sort of. Yeah, yeah. She knocks him out. Yeah. Because then Naga grabs Bolin like by the collar, and he's just like, and they're running away. He's like, I want to be on your back. I just see. I know.
Naga has a great role so far in the series, and then I've also watched one additional episode ahead in potential preparation for recording 2 today. And Naga continues to play a very active role in a great way.
Yeah. Doesn't play a big role in some other seasons coming up, which I mean that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
she's no Appa, but it's fine.
yeah. I mean, Appa. I don't think Appa isn't necessary for them to travel to the different places.
I think that's part of the thing here is they had to make Appa more of a character in other ways, maybe, right? Just for maybe they didn't have to, but seemed to try to.
Oh yeah, he would have ended up just becoming just a means to ends instead of the means to our hearts.
Exactly. 2 things I want to touch on that probably not today, but future episodes and throughout this season of Korra that I really look forward to talking about is Amon, these other kind of theories, and in my opinion, in a weird way, of how he's maybe too OP for my taste for villain. Like he's a great villain, but maybe being a bit too OP. But I think we can have really cool moral discussions about the Equalists and Amon as this season goes on. I'm really looking forward to some of those.
Yeah, and yeah. Anyway, so they get away, and Amon does the whole like villain thing of like, let them go. She'll be a great messenger, and yeah, she goes and tells Tenzin. And even Tenzin is like, that's impossible. Like only the Avatar can do something like that, which is why that led to a lot of fan theories of like, well, if only the Avatar can do it, Tenzin.
Tenzin said it. He told us right there.
But yeah, so that's pretty much the episode.
It is shocking. I remember the first time watching that first time through in my Topeka house, and I'm pretty cynical. I'm like, whatever. He just like chi blocked him, and that guy's gonna get up and he's gonna be able to energy bend. It's just a fancy chi blocking, and so then. In coming episodes, I believe, if memory serves me right, I started to get like more legit scared. I was like, oh no, it's kind of real.
Yeah, there's an episode. I think A Voice in the Dark is what it's called.
That's the next one. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the next one. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get to it when we talk about it. But it talks about Amon. I feel like it frames Amon still bending in a way that's like so.
It makes it real,
violent, and it makes it almost feel like a breach of. I don't want to belittle like things people have gone through and stuff, but it makes it feel like Amon is like attacking people. Harassing is not the word I'm looking for. Abusing, even that's not
sort of psychological warfare, mental abuse. I get what you're saying. I can't think of a word to sort of fit it, but yeah, that's next episode is a big one where it still doesn't kind of prove that there's not like a trick to what he's doing, but it does make it feel very real and sketch, and you kind of get get the fear put in you.
Yeah, I feel like this is the episode that things start to finally pick up. Also, because we're just now being introduced to the main antagonist of the season.
Absolutely. Let's get to some ratings.
Ratings. All right.
Eventually.
So,
Here we go.
rating for audiovisual 8.5. Great animated episode. I think that the two call outs is the chase and definitely Amon taking away lightning bolt Zod's bending. Just great stuff there. Story 8.5. Really great introduction to Amon. They're really starting to lay the foundation for the season as it goes forward. Memorable, gave that an 8. It's just I don't feel like anything very memorable happened besides Amon taking away the bending, which I mean I could give it an 8.5, but 8 was suitable. So brings out to
still a great score. No shame there.
Yeah, 8.4 out of 10.
I was very similar. I had audiovisual as 8.5. There's a lot of you see and feel a lot of things in the city in this episode that are pretty cool. Story 8.5. It did a nice job of stringing me along through the entire time. Like at the beginning when Bolin's looking for money, you don't really know where it's gonna go when he follows that triple threat triad. Like you assume he's just gonna get into some trouble. They're gonna break him out of jail. It's like no, he's gonna lose his bending. It's pretty like it ramps up in a hurry. And memorable, I kind of felt the same. It's not that you don't learn important things, but the only thing I remembered about this episode was, Amon being on stage and stealing somebody's bending or removing somebody's bending in a public forum. And that's really all I came with it. So, I mean, it's still not bad. 8.2. That brings us to a 8.3. Very respectable rating in the realm of Korra. And that is Book 1 Air, Chapter 3, The Revelation. That's a pretty creepy picture, really.
It's a definitely. I've never look at the anguish on his face. Like the lips are so exaggerated.
Pain, yeah. And I mean, you can't see it there, but like you mentioned, the lightning all kind of coming out, like he's out of losing control, and then the fire, and then it's just like. I don't know. It makes me think of a video game. Like, I just used up the last bit of my magic power, and I'm definitely going to die because I didn't manage my resources very well. So
yeah.
Bad foreboding.
Ran out of... Man, it reminds me of the end of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. You run out of magic because you can't use light arrows anymore. So you just...
I was going to go to the Dragon Quest hero in Super Smash Brothers, Ultimate, but to each their own. To each their own. Do you have the DLC pass for that? Did you ever use him?
Nah.
Well, I don't think you're a JRPG guy, but he has his Down and B special. It brings up a list of 4 spells that just tropes from the game, but the list isn't the same every time, so you have to press it and then quickly read and quickly remember what each one does and how much of your magic power. And it's totally useless, but there's 1 or 2 out of a group of 20 spells or whatever that are stupid OP, one-hit kill. So I don't think you can use him in tournaments anymore just on the off chance that somebody's really good at hitting down and B several times and getting to that 1 or 2 spells. It's kind of weird. Anyways, big tangent. Episode full of changes. That's fine. It is an interesting episode, though. Good episode. I'm glad we got to appreciate our fans slightly more properly or to amend that ever so slightly. We will be back next week for, I already forgot, a Voice in the Dark. And that's a
I believe so, yes.
Maybe a flashpoint for Korra in this season, in a way. It's a big one, so that'll be next week. In the meantime, thank you for listening or watching this week. I'll definitely post the right audio version this time. It's going to be great. Thanks, Chris. Nice to talk to you. And this has been Avatar: The Last Podcasters.